Welcome everyone to Beyond the Finish Line, where I review the latest weekly challenges, show which cars I used, and offer you potential cars to use yourself to complete the challenges. Typically, I like to use cars I haven't driven before or haven't driven much, unless the challenge calls for a specific car. I'll also show what changes I made to any car in order to make the race more challenging for myself. And also show you the strategy I used for the fifth race, which has always been a race with tire wear and fuel consumption, and can be the most challenging of the bunch. Now I'll quickly go through each race and showcase any highlights and blunders I may have had, and show what it took for me to get the win. And before we start, please like, comment and subscribe. A simple click for you is a big help to the channel and is appreciated more than I can express. Thank you. Here we are with May week 1 of the weekly challenges. We start off with a Japanese FR Challenge 450, an American FR Challenge 550, a special event in the Urus, a race of turbo sports cars, and to end it all, a World Touring Car 800. First race is 2 laps at Tokyo Expressway, and I'm driving the 2015 Mazda Roadster S, and I ran this car stock in this race. I had a little trouble with the handling of this car early in the race, hit the wall and learned you have to brake in a straight line. But the wall hits didn't stop there, got stuck here with a couple hits with the wall and the cars, then came in too hot on this one. Almost lost it here going for the pass, but I got a friendly bump to straighten me out. After all that, I made it up to P2 and ready to take the lead. Before the first lap even ended, with an easy outside pass, I almost hit the wall here too but saved it. And that was it. I led the rest of the race for a pretty easy win in the stock Roadster. Second race is the new American FR Challenge added in update 1.46, and I'm driving the Chevelle also added in the same update, and we have 3 laps at Trial Mountain. It's fully upgraded, so I made the usual changes to the ECU and power adjustment, and I'm running racing soft tires. I was moving up the field without problems, until I became my own problem and just lost control. Heading into the straight, I almost lost it again, but then proceeded to gain a few positions by the end of it, and made it into P4. Then I made it into P2 after a couple passes going through this section. Caught P1 a little further down, got the easy pass, but then lost control heading for the line, and caused a crash with the Superbird and fell back to P2. Got him back at the end of this straight, but then continued to have moment after moment, hitting walls and almost losing control. Then I had another big crash, but all by myself this time, but luckily the lead I built up kept me out of trouble of losing positions. And just for good measure, I decided to have another crash on my way to the finish that bounced me from one side to the other. But again, with the lead I had, I got the win, after all those numerous near moments and crashes. Race 3 is the special event in the Lamborghini Urus, 3 laps in the snow at Lake Louise. The Urus is fully upgraded, so it's just the regular changes made, and obviously we're on snow tires for this one. I kept up with my trend of hitting walls, and added just being all over the place to the list. Second lap and in P4 and still crashing. Second lap and in P4 and still crashing. I got to make my move to go for P1 a little further in the second. I held on for the win and managed not to crash during the final lap. Race 4 is the race of the turbo sports cars, 5 laps at Suzuka, and I'm in the Mitsubishi Concept Evolution VGT. This car has all available upgrades, minus the power restrictor and ballast, and I'm on racing soft tires. Early on, already gaining positions, I almost had a fender bender, but was able to swerve away in time, and come away with a couple more positions. Coming into the end of the first, I was in P9 and moved into P6 with some easy passes on the straight. Later in the second, I was making a move for P2, got the position, but quickly lost it because I had a bad angle and too much speed, and ended up in the dirt. I caught back P2 fairly quickly at the end of the second lap and took the position, then got P1 not long after with some unintentional contact. I stayed in P1 for the rest of the race with a huge lead on the field. The final race is 10 laps at Lago Maggiore, and I chose the Roadster Shop Rampage. It's fully upgraded with no changes made for this race. I had my fuel map set to 6 and traction set to 1. Even with my fuel map at 6, I actually needed to pit twice in the race. Started off moving up the field like normal, but I just had to bring back my trend of crashing into the wall, and lost the position I gained for it. By the third lap I was in P12 and making passes on the middle pack to move into P8 without problems. By the end of the fourth lap I made it up to P4, but that was when I had to pit for the first time. I gained a bunch of positions in the fifth lap, and by the end of it I gained even more due to the AI pitting, which put me in P3. Here in the seventh, I was chasing down P1. I got P2 because he pitted, got P1 for a second, then got bumped, but took the next turn too fast trying to stay ahead of the Viper, and hit the wall, but got back P1 shortly after. Getting ready to pit for the second time, I took this turn too hot and had my worst crash of the race. I exited the pit in only P2 with P1 right ahead of me, and thanks to the AI having to pit as well. I got P1 here, but when I saw this replay, it honestly looked like I gave him a dirty bump to push him to the side, when it was really just bad awareness on my part. And that sealed the deal for the last race, finished with a substantial lead for the Rampage win. This was an interesting week for me. The wall became my best friend in all but one race. Race 1 in the Mazda Roadster is where it all started. Even though I got the lead in the first, I just kept going because I was having trouble with the handling. Wasn't really sure if I would win if I kept crashing more. Race 2 was pretty much the same thing. I was having trouble handling the Chevelle and kept crashing, so I just kept going. I didn't realize the lead I had till the end. I was focused on just driving. The special event in the Urus in the snow wasn't as bad with crashes, but the snow had me all over the place. I had horrible control over the Urus in it, and I was surprised I didn't have any crashes worse than what I had. Race 4 in the Mitsubishi VGT was the only race I didn't meet the wall in. I had one off-road moment, but that was it. The VGT handles amazing, it's smooth, fast, and fun to drive. That's why I just ran with it till the end. Final race in the Rampage was completely different from the norm. It eats fuel, so I had to pit twice, even with my fuel map on 6, and that had me unsure if I would win until I pitted the second time. I'm lucky P1 was right there. This week's races were cool. I was just having a hard time staying off the wall. I did all the races early in the morning after I woke up, so I'm just gonna say I wasn't fully awake yet, and that's why I was racing so horrible. I like the cars I chose. They can all definitely be set up better to make the races more competitive, but I was crashing so much. I didn't know if I could win with them OP, but I managed to do it.